Okay, we are not yet done, guys. We must work, we must work, we must work. Okay, the other one is this one. Question 3. A box with a mass of 45 kg is pulled with a force of 90 Newton at an angle of 50 to the horizontal. The box moves at a constant velocity. My beautiful learners, for the fact that they wrote constant velocity with a capital letters, you need to be very careful. Constant velocity. Constant velocity means that our acceleration is equals to 0. Why am I saying this? Remember, from grade 10, acceleration is defined as the rate of change of velocity. The rate of change of velocity, meaning A is equals to Vf minus Vi all over change in time. Now when the velocity is the same, when the velocity is constant, meaning I'm having Vf, let me just say S20, even Vi as what? S20, all divided by delta t. 20 minus 20 is going to give us 0. And then any 0 divided by any number is going to give us what? 0. My beautiful learners, even when the acceleration here is 0, that simply tells us that even the F net will also be equals to 0. Why am I saying this? Remember that we are having this equation of F net is equals to ma. Obviously, when our a is 0, meaning mass multiplied by 0 will also give us what? 0. And then 0 is equals to F net. Okay, I will show you. So now for 3.1, define the term kinetic frictional force. Remember that frictional force is divided into two. We have kinetic frictional force, and then we also have static frictional force. So now we are required to define the term kinetic frictional force. So please remember what I said. Don't be creative. Don't come up with your own definition. Go and get the definition from the examination guideline. Don't take the definition from the textbook. Take the one that come up from the examination guideline. So the kinetic frictional force is defined as the force that opposes the motion of a moving object relative to a surface. Kinetic frictional force is the force that opposes the motion of a moving object relative to a surface. And then you will be getting your 2 marks. Okay? And then 3.2, state Newton's first law of motion in weights. My beautiful learners, we have Newton's first law, Newton's second law, Newton's third law, Newton's law of universal gravitation. So the first law that we come across in grade 11 is this one of Newton's first law. And then we must also be in a position of knowing how to state that law. And then when you state the law, please get the definition or the law from the examination guideline. So now Newton's first law of motion states that a body will remain in its state of rest or motion at constant what? Velocity, unless a non-zero resultant force act on it. Okay, a body will remain in its state of rest or motion at a constant velocity unless a non-zero resultant force act on it. Okay guys, the class that you are in right now, the building of that class will remain the way it is forever, unless there is a force that is acting on that class to destroy that class. The duster that is cleaning the chalkboard, can you see it? It will remain there forever unless someone take it. The car that is outside, it will remain there forever unless someone exert a force on it. A ball, if the Tshaka is kicking a ball, that ball will move in the direction of my force forever unless there is a force that is acting on it. Okay, so now let us proceed, my beautiful learners. Actually that one I was trying to be creative as to show you how this law came up, but that creativity of mine is not accepted. Is not accepted. Don't write that creativity of mine in your answer book during your final examination. That is just a scenario that I came up with as to make you understand or remember what the law is about. So, but during your examination, when you are required to state the law, please write it the way it is. Okay? So now for 3.2 for 2 marks, my beautiful learners, calculate the magnitude of the horizontal component of the applied force. The applied force is 90, is acting at an angle of 50. But the question says we must determine the horizontal what? Components. So my horizontal components will be facing in this direction. This is my F horizontal, and then I will be having the force vertical. The angle that is given to us is measured from the x-axis, meaning when I determine the F horizontal will always be F cos theta, and then force vertical will always be F sin theta, only if our angle is measured from the x-axis. Okay, meaning the F horizontal for this situation, F is equal to F cos theta. What is the magnitude of F? Is 90. So 90 cos our angle is 50. And then when I press my calculator, 90 cos 50, and then my answer there is 57,85. What? Newtons. Okay. We can continue. And then now let us go to 3.4. 3.4 for 4 marks. Calculate the magnitude of the normal force. Calculate the magnitude of the normal force. Let's check. Or before we can calculate the magnitude of the normal force, let us draw the free body diagram of 45 kg block. The free body diagram for the 45 kg block, let me have this one, which is our FH. Let me have this one, which is our FV. Let me have this one, which is our FG. What else? What else do I have here? Oh, let me have the kinetic frictional force, which is my FK, and then let me have my normal force. So now, guys, we are required to calculate the magnitude of the normal force. But now, when you look on our diagram, I'm having 3 forces that are acting vertically. One thing that I know about these 3 forces is that they are at equilibrium, meaning the resultant of those forces must give me 0, because my object is not moving upwards or downwards, it's moving horizontally, meaning the vertical forces are balanced. So the first step that I'm going to do, I'm just going to say my F net for vertical is equals to 0. So now, how many forces are acting upwards? I'm having normal force plus force vertical minus Fg is equals to 0. So now, what is the magnitude of Fg? Fg, here it is. Here at least I've calculated F horizontal. So if I have to calculate I've calculated F horizontal. So the Fv is going to be F sin theta. What is the magnitude of F? Is 90 sin 50. And then when I press my calculator, Fv is equals to 68,94 newtons. So meaning N plus this one is 68,94 minus my Fg. Fg, I know that Fg, I'm sorry, or let me just do it here. Let me do it here. Fg is equals to M multiplied by G. Our mass in this situation is 45. So 45 multiplied by our G is 9,8. So 45 multiply by 9,8, and then it gives us 441. So here I have 441 is equals to 0. So now let me put everything on my calculator. 68,94 minus 441, it gives me normal force minus 372,06 is equals to 0. Therefore, my normal force is equals to 372,06 what? Newtons. I hope we are all together, guys. I hope we are all together. Okay? So now 3.5. So 3.5, calculate the coefficient of kinetic friction. Calculate the coefficient of kinetic friction. So meaning I must be in a position of knowing which equation am I going to use. So obviously in this situation, I must go to the types of kinetic frictional force that we are having. We do have two types of frictional force. The first one is static frictional force, is when the object is not moving. And then the second one is kinetic frictional force. It's the frictional force that we are having when the object is moving. So meaning the formula that I'm having there, it must be Fk is equal to coefficient of kinetic multiplied by normal force. For the fact that here our object is moving with a constant velocity, our F horizontal must be equals to our Fk. Why? Because of even these two forces are the ones that are acting parallel to the surface. They are the only forces that are acting parallel to the surface, and then they are also acting in opposite direction to one another. So meaning the force of F horizontal, the magnitude of F horizontal is equal to the magnitude of the Fk, but the only thing that differs is that they are acting in the opposite direction. So now the magnitude of Fk in this situation, the value of Fh is 57,85, meaning even the value of Fk will also be 57,85 is equals to the coefficient of kinetic friction multiplied by the normal force acting on an object, is the one that we got here of 372,06. So from here we must just divide both sides by 372, I'm sorry, 372,06. Even this side 372,06. This side will cancel this side, and then UK coefficient of kinetic is equals to 57,85 divided by 372,06, and then our answer there is 0,155, which is equivalent to 0,16. My beautiful learners, the coefficient of kinetic, it has no unit. The coefficient of kinetic friction, it has no units. Why? because it is a ratio. It is the ratio of forces which will cancel one another. Meaning the SI unit of normal force, is Newton. The SI unit of frictional force is what? Is Newton. So now when you divide both sides by Newton, the Newtons will cancel one another, leaving our FK with no unit. That is why here I said that it is the ratio of forces which will cancel what? One another. So please, my beautiful learners, make sure that you get it right. Okay? So for 3.6, will the coefficient of kinetic friction changes if the angle of the applied force is decreased? Write only yes or no and give a reason. Will the coefficient of kinetic friction changes if the angle of the applied force is decreased? Write yes or no and give a reason. The answer must be no. Why? The coefficient of friction, my beautiful learners, is dependent on the nature of the surface. Meaning the nature of the surface is the one that determines the coefficient of the friction. So meaning changing the normal force, changing the angle will have no effect on the value of the coefficient of what? Of kinetic friction. So meaning our answer here is no. Why? Because the coefficient is dependent on the nature of the surface. Or I can also that it also depend on the type of material it is in contact with. The type of material in contact with. So you will also get 1 mark for this or this. So my beautiful learners, this is this one. This is 3.6, and then our total for this is 16. So of which I believe if you keep on working, you can accumulate the very same marks of 16. When I was still at school, when I was at your age, doing my grade 11, I used to get about 12 out of 100, 16 out of 100. And then when I did well, I was getting 22 over 100. And then my friends will be getting 80, 90, 70 and so forth. And then I started to ask myself, what is wrong with me? And then I started to check, what is it that I'm doing when I'm not at school? And then I realized that most of my time, I was spending my time watching TV, not doing my schoolwork. And then guess what? I was so motivated, and then I started reading my books after school. I started switching off the TV, and then I kept on practicing. I still remember well when I was doing my grade 11 September report, it came with physical science level 5. What changed? It was my mentality. So you must also check what is it that you are doing when you get home. Try to put more of your time on your schoolwork, and then and then you will see the results. I think some of you thought that we are done. We are not yet done. Let's continue. Okay guys, for now I'm just going to give you this one to practice it. Please do this type of a question as your homework. When you get home, please make sure that you do this question, and then when you don't understand some of the things that are written here, please consult with your educator, consult with the learners, your peer learners who are doing quite well in this topic, or you can also contact anyone that you think he can be in a position of being able to assist you. My beautiful learners, I wish you nothing but the best in your upcoming examination. Please put more effort on your schoolwork. I believe you can do it. From my side, that Tshaka, to you, my beautiful learners, I love you all. Have yourself a good day. Thank you.